You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the Templeton Board of Health meeting. It is a little after 7 on Monday, August 26th. And we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Going to review the minutes from July 16th. Any questions?
It looks pretty good to me. So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Laura will make a motion and Earl will second it. All in favor? Yes. All right, we need to review and sign a septic betterment agreement for 215 Otter River Road.
So what happened was there was an error on the form that went into the registry of deeds. It was a problem with a date. So I corrected the form, got the signatures, got them notarized.
Okay.
I need your signature, please, Jane.
Okay.
Do you
That
need me
is
to
not a
sign
problem.
the minutes from?
Yes, we do have those.
Okay, that's signed. Moving right along.
Thank you.
Communicable disease report, Lori.
So I can keep that pretty brief. So COVID is still happening. From August 4th to August 17th, there were 28 reported tests resulting in 4 positives. That doesn't include anybody who's doing at-home tests and not reporting, so I can only give you what we've got. We do have non-expired test kits here. We just got them last week, and they are free for anybody who wants to take a couple or more. There was a small outbreak of Legionella, not around here, but people should be careful with stagnant water, things like that. That's the main carrier for it. It causes pneumonia, fever, aches, lack of appetite. You can get really sick from it. So if you have any of these symptoms, you should probably call your doctor. And as far as West Nile virus and triple E, Leominster is the closest that has had mosquitoes test positive, and we are still considered a low category. Even though Leominster is pretty close, we haven't had anything come up. For anybody who has standing water in their yard, that's where mosquitoes breed. Tires, bird baths, things like that. Just dump it out or give it a good stir, and that usually takes care of what's going on as far as mosquitoes go. And that's what I have for that.
And I think number 4 is why everybody's here. Recycling regulations discussion. No, yeah. I know, Lori, you were going to give us an update.
So what I think, looking at it at a global perspective, as far as the full town of Templeton, I think the easiest way to put a new regulation in is through the Board of Health. However, I am not a scientist. I will need help with writing it. And then whatever we come up with will need to be reviewed by town council so that we don't mess it up, or I don't mess it up. So I've been looking at, and I think I've told you, is not, and anybody who has information, please feel free to email it to me, whatever. I have been looking for, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I've been looking for regulations, and the most I can come up with is other states have done bills for the whole state, which I don't think is fast enough.
It's not going to be fast enough.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that if the townspeople want something in place, we need to do it this way first, and then the state should look at a bill, and the right person is in office right now for a bill. if anybody wants to get one going. Rhode Island was the most proactive that I found, so I'm still looking at their paperwork, but theirs is a bill. Has anybody else found like town regulations?
I did look to
Mhm.
see what DCR, what the state would be for something industrial, environmental
Mhm.
that would affect the Otter River or Lake Dennison
Mhm.
camping area, but once I started pulling everything up, my phone died, so.
Okay,
But I'm researching that because it's very close. That commercial property is very close.
It
And a
is.
lot of people go camping there.
Yep.
A lot of people want to get away from the cities.
and they already struggle with the condition of the water over there because it has a high
Exactly.
bacteria count, so.
So I'm trying to research what the state has mandated for any kind of commercial properties going in there that would be harmful to the environment.
Okay.
Anyway, that's just
Okay.
what I thought of doing, just.
Have you been on that Templeton Community Against Toxic Waste site? They have a lot of information. Are you would you be interested in looking at it for the information, or do you want somebody to send the specific information you?
I would prefer if you've got something that actually happened in another city or town, the link to that. Because when I'm just doing it as a general search, I'm finding cities and towns that have approved it, different regulations.
Okay,
So if you have something specific that you can send me a link to, we will be happy to take a look at it.
okay, wonderful.
Like I said, I'm not a scientist and I am not into recreating the wheel.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
You may.
Just in interest of the people that are here, that took time to come out. Does anybody have any ideas of what they might want included in a townwide, not site specific, as far as what kind of regulations we should be looking into to impose townwide? It has to be townwide. It cannot be specific. So it would be for the future too. So that if somebody wanted to put I don't even know, a waste oil recycling plant over across, an Otter River somewhere, something to that effect that we didn't want, that would fall in that regulation. Has anybody got any ideas, in proximity to, like, for example, Otter River State Forest? It's near that particular site, is close to, well, Dunkin' Donuts, I guess. But another thing to think about would be anything that we would do or regulate would have to do with traffic and traffic studies and whatnot. Because anything coming into the town would be trucked in.
So that would actually, all of that would be covered under a site plan review too. Traffic studies and things like that. We have nothing in front of us for any sites. Okay.
No,
I'm just
We haven't
trying
gotten
to
anything.
figure out what people are
It-
trying to.
It should be all
what-
encompassing.
Right, what other people's thoughts are on it, so that we can do what the people want, not necessarily what we come up with, and then we say, why didn't you include this, or why didn't you
Right.
include that? I would rather have somebody say, hey, I was thinking, is there a possible way that we could say we don't want? Within reason.
Right.
Earl, I would say, I don't know the specifics, but we have so much wetlands and we have a lot of people that have wells. So wouldn't it be something like, no processing of oil or recycling of oils within, I don't know, 1 mile of any house? Something like, whatever that measurement is.
There's a good point right there, because even the septic system has to be 100 feet from a well.
From a well, right?
So that's just septic, which goes into the ground. That's a septic field, which goes back into the water table over time anyhow. So that's a good point, George. So that with all the wetlands that are around different areas throughout this town, and there's a wetland map in the Conservation Commission office that are all already delineated. So we could go off of that as far as where places. If someone will say, we want to put a site here, you're automatically disqualified because there's a wetland there, because you've already fallen into this criteria. That's something that we should definitely take into account.
And secondly, can I suggest something about burning? or an incinerator, you know, I don't know what the
Yeah.
measurement would be again, but I was thinking like 5 miles from the house.
Well, yeah, this is
Yeah,
like,
in a
this is-
neighborhood.
You cannot get more in center of a residential area than where
Right.
Yeah.
they're surrounded by houses.
Right, and unfortunately, I had addressed this, but I don't know how to go about doing it, and I haven't had the time to really look into it. And I don't even know if it would be possible, just so everybody, I have looked, trying to find out how to that's zoned commercial industrial.
Mhm.
So I don't know, how it would even be rezoned. As perhaps no industrial, just commercial as in storefront,
Mhm.
a cabinetry shop, a restaurant, something that still generates income for the town and employment and doesn't destroy our environment and aggravate everybody that lives around them. And, especially an incinerator. From what I understand, this plastic company, just using them as an example. One of the things that they do is they break down the plastic and regenerate into diesel fuel. I don't think that's the greatest idea in a small town.
I've never been
And-
told that they were going to do that.
No, happened to see something.
Okay.
I can't verify, so
Okay,
I
okay.
can't.
No, that's fine.
I can't state a fact because I don't know it for sure, but that's something that I started to read about. And somebody had pointed me in the direction that I'm currently investigating further. That is part of the process of, if anybody doesn't know, plastic comes from petroleum, it's a petroleum byproduct. So everything is plastic, breaking it back down, turns it back into petroleum, which can get into groundwater, which can contaminate. Same thing as pouring oil. So, for those who didn't know.
We've already been there and done that. We don't want to do it again.
Right, and
Yeah,
they spent billions of taxpayer money to clean that place up, to destroy it again, would be kind of.
Yeah.
Silly.
No taxpayer money, all brownfield.
Mhm.
Somebody privately paid for that?
Fed paid for it.
Well, where the Fed gets the money.
Oh.
We think they're selling lemonade?
All right, you got me.
Oh,
You got me. Jane or Laura, anything to add?
No, Earl added everything
Yeah.
that we were thinking about, or I was thinking about. Yeah, no, it's not something we want in town for sure.
No, I was a part of that. My whole yard got dug up.
Mm,
We saw the people in the white suits come in, do the sampling.
Yeah.
It was quite a project, but way back when, nobody knew
No,
what the
really.
repercussions were gonna be.
Mhm.
Now we know. I mean, I don't even think there was ever any kind of study done on the neighborhood as far as. Was there a study done on cancer or?
There
any kind of-
was, and we had floods and I
Yeah.
can't locate, there
Yeah.
was, I know because Rick Trifilo had done a study.
Yeah,
It was all,
yeah,
it was a brochure that went out, a survey, and I've been through the cellar here looking for
Yeah.
it. I found all the documents that have to do with, I have documents on your house if you ever need them. I have all the copies, but I
Yeah.
can't find,
The study itself.
I can't find the case study.
someone had mentioned, and I don't know if I can bring this up, but someone had mentioned that one time, years ago in my neighborhood, there was a well. That before town, they said they used to get their drinking water from it years ago. One of my neighbors told me this, she grew up in the house. And before town, water came in. But, but as I'm saying today, we know now, I mean, how life has progressed and
Right,
how people are getting cancer and,
Yeah.
there's everything in the air. But, the fact that it was so real and so devastating, it devastated. I mean, our yard hasn't been the same and people have lost people in the neighborhood but, the
Yeah.
fact that it scares you, the fact that something else like that could come in to either even Templeton.
Mhm.
People don't understand, just because it's in Baldwinville doesn't mean it's not going to spread elsewhere. This stuff was scattered everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. Something to think about too with Templeton is what would you like to see come in? We need to start
Most
talking.
definitely, yeah.
You know, you've got a real estate agent that's selling that property
Mhm.
and I'm sure she'd love to know what people would like to see there.
Mhm.
Um,
Like a little Dollar General involved would be nice. Earl hit on my fantasy about the Temple Stewart property over there, which is based on the movie, Field of Dreams. Where, if you build it, they will come. And it's on the railroad tracks there, and eventually the train's gonna come, from Westminster to Gardner, it's gonna come out through Templeton. So what we do is we build a beautiful 19th century train station with a nice restaurant in it. Could call it the Baldwinville Station. Have those people that run that beautiful restaurant in Baldwinville move into this incredible thing. We could have shops around there, make it like,
destination.
Or somewhere we were just there, they have the exact same thing, and there, that place is absolutely,
And it's.
Bananas booming.
all we need is a good investor.
Where's that?
North Conway.
Oh, yeah.
It booms 4 seasons of
Yeah.
the year.
The rail,
Used to be
the old
no
rail
place.
station is there and whatnot, it's original and tracks, and
Sure.
there's all kinds of stories, so. I am, in a fantasy world, that would be wonderful, I mean, a big. Factory of any kind.
I'd be happy with Dollar General, but
Oh, just like we have our Cumbies, but that's it.
yeah, that's it. Two of them.
It's like, so, you don't want a Walmart, that's
No.
not that big, but something kind of like,
Something
But Dollar
small.
General,
Area.
it seems like you go in Dollar General, they pretty much have all you need. I mean, it's not, everything's $1, but
No, it's not. I just went there. the
they
other
have a
day.
good variety.
Yeah.
I have one other comment too, which is that I don't know what the process, what stage this is at, and if it's inevitable that they're actually gonna do this or not, despite all of our efforts, which happens in a lot of places because they have all these high-powered lawyers and a lot of times they can do what they want. In lieu of that, maybe there is a way the town can put some restrictions on what they build there so that it's multi-use in the future, so that they don't put something in there that can't be used for any other purpose in case they stop making plastic in the future.
Right.
And they don't have anything to process anymore. That building, that whatever infrastructure they build there should be useful for other things.
That's a good point.
And I don't know if there's any way to enforce that or not.
Well, through zoning, there is specific descriptions of what's by right over in the commercial industrial zones. And Earl already mentioned, can it be rezoned? We don't have a lot of commercial property, so that's gonna be, I'm just,
Commercial, I think of more as, store. Any place that you would frequent as
The public.
the public would frequent. Industrial, I think of manufacturing. I could be completely off on that. I admit, I've never actually had to, I didn't know until I had asked about the zoning of it. And then you told me it's commercial industrial, and I said, I did not know that. So
it is.
the industrial part of it is the part. Maybe between a bylaw for recycling and rezoning it and eliminating the industrial part.
I'm gonna be honest and tell you, I don't know exactly how that would work, but I can approach the planning board about it. Because they are the ones that are in control of zoning. And changes and.
And like, like close proximity to residential.
Right, I mean,
like-
it's
It blows my mind how this is like smack dab in the middle of literally
your backyard.
less than 100 yards
Sure.
of homes. Sure.
That's
It's like,
all of our commercial industrial
I'm
property.
just saying, but is there something that also could be updated? So you're gonna be at least
Quarter mile.
a half mile.
Right.
Residential, you know what I mean? It's like.
And now that we know more, as we're generations and generations know more, there should be changes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This lady back, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I
She-
like what you're
okay.
saying.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just a few thoughts here. We have a garden, so we grow our food from what's going on there. And so for me, there's also just the quality of air and the ability to see how it's going to travel through the air, not just the water, the groundwater, but also through the air and what settles. I'm thinking, like, I would really love, and I don't know whether this is appropriate places to be updated about the plastic company and the sale and then, you know, like, is it gonna happen? Is it happening? Is it not happening? The other thing I could be updated on is when it went into bankruptcy, like who actually owns that property now that is selling it to begin with, like who's gaining that money? But the last thing I just want to say is that I remember when Casella Waste came in, you know, and we fought not to have them come. And that was, and you know, they also often take poor cities and towns just to impact like that, thinking that we're not going to fight back. Well, we fought and we won. So I think there might be something in those reports, the Casella reports, that, you know, like we don't have to like go and do it all over again. There might be something there that could help too.
So I'm very familiar with the process of a regulation. I'm not familiar with the science of what we need to put in it. So that's where I'm stumped. And that's why I've been looking for other cities, towns, states.
So you need people to help research with you.
Mhm.
We're not only looking at plastic though, we're also looking at any kind of, and like Mr. Madrid said, incinerator. Somebody decides that they want to put a trash incinerator, Waste Management says, hey, you know what, there's an area we can just dump our trash in or incinerate it. And they can come up with 85 studies that say that the filters they're using are clean.
Yeah.
And we have no recourse. So we're trying, I guess. And from my, I can't speak for anybody else but myself. Mine is more of a townwide outlook for future. So not just plastics, incinerators, hazardous, any kind of hazardous material, whether they want to recycle batteries here. No, I mean, that's no safe way to recycle a battery. We don't want them to experiment with Baldwinville, Templeton, Otter River, East Templeton, and be their guinea pig, you know, and find out 20 years down the road that was a horrible mistake, and now we're right back where we started, and you know, it's not, you know, like you brought up a good point. They will pick on a small town that, you know, yeah, and hopefully if we can establish, like Rhode Island has a statewide, we can establish something for small towns.
Right.
We do it on a small scale.
State would be later.
Yeah, let's worry about the state later, but at least we have precedent for other small towns. So soon some other small towns, since we don't stand a chance. Well, little tiny little Templeton of, you know, 10,000 people did it. How did they do it? Oh, come back and look at our records. We'd be happy to share them just to protect the environment and, you know, the future, like you said, the gardens, the drinking water, well water, you know, trees, birds, butterflies, bees, whatever you're trying to protect. Just the general health of human beings. It just, that's more what I'm interested in doing. You know,
Can somebody recap like where we are, like with, is it what proposals on there and what is the town gonna get out of it and what control we have? Kind of a broad question, but what is the proposal on the table? What are we talking about?
As far as
That-
writing a regulation,
No, I mean, as far as the recycling plant, what they want to do, is
we
it?
don't have any
Oh.
information.
Oh.
We have never received anything saying what they were or weren't going to do,
this is,
other than, well, for me, it's just been rumor.
Mhm.
and it was a little more substantial. What we're trying to do is prevent it from a big company coming in here with millions of dollars, lots of lawyers and saying, too late,
Too late.
there's
Yeah.
nothing in place, there's no
Yeah.
precedent.
Okay,
So by protecting the town for now and for future
Yeah.
is what we're interested in doing.
And sometimes that's all you have to start with is a rumor, and then the
Yeah.
rumor, it
Mhm.
has to, like, you gotta think, oh geez, you know, you can't wait until it's happening, and then all their like big fancy lawyers.
If they started
Yeah.
building buildings, and we're having this discussion,
Yeah,
be a little
no,
bit late.
yeah.
Yeah, they could probably,
So where you've heard incinerators and,
oh no, I was using incinerators. as an
well,
example.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying in pyrolysis.
Yeah.
I heard grinders, pellets turned into building blocks. That's what I heard. At no time was I ever told an incinerator or pyrolysis, but it doesn't mean it's not true.
Mhm.
So it's currently owned. Somebody had asked for an update, the young lady behind you. To my knowledge, it's owned by McValley. And I saw that it was up for sale last Thursday. It went on the market for $5 million. The update is, and I don't know anything legally between the town and the company. So I only know that the real estate agent was asking about what the town of Templeton might like to see there. And that she'd be looking for that kind of customer. I don't know. The only thing that we're going to do is try and figure out how to put it into a regulation for the whole town, update what we currently have. Probably incorporate everything into one regulation through the Board of Health. Once we've got what we want and it's been reviewed by town council. For the Board of Health, it just has to be advertised in the newspaper.
So you don't need town meeting.
Do not,
Okay,
that'll quicken it,
all right.
so.
I'd like to add a couple of things.
Sure.
This is all new to me, and I heard from this Templeton Community Against Toxic Waste group about what was going on. They've been here since the whole dump fiasco many years ago when they stopped that all from coming, and they've stayed organized since. They have so much information on their site. They've researched this company. They think that they know what they have up their sleeve. But anyways, they have weekly meetings, and at one of the weekly meetings, they spoke about a bylaw that's already in place about bringing in from outside.
Yes.
And whether that could protect us or not, bringing in garbage, just so you don't think that could protect us. Okay, and then there was also somebody from Pennsylvania who advocates and it lends her hands for people who are doing this, like you said, with the verbiage and what you have to do. But she also said that there's also state laws in all different states that could ban people from discriminating on any kind of company. So I mean, that's like just a whole nother level that we don't even really know.
Correct, and that's why
That's
it's
why.
not against a company, it's for the town, the
Right.
entire town.
Oh, yeah, but we're not just talking about that. She's like, even like the whole town, like if the law says that, you know, anything can come in, which hopefully our state doesn't.
So with state laws in Massachusetts, we can be more restrictive.
Oh, good.
It still has to, once it's written and filed, before it can be enacted, it goes to the Attorney General, it goes to Board of Health goes to Mass DEP. I'm mixing my boards and committees here. So anything that we do put into writing and are ready to send, it goes to Mass DEP for their approval.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Mass DEP and EPA are the regulators and the permitters for those types of
Right.
companies.
Oh, so you're knowledgeable about all of that. Yeah, well, at least you know what we have to do and get it through them and.
Right.
Okay.
And then once they've sent it back and said, we're good to go. You could also do it as you could go to town meeting.
Yeah.
And you maybe want to we may want to work on things dually. I don't know how many signatures you need for citizens petition.
Well, for a special, it's 200, special town meeting.
Yeah.
For the annual, it's 10.
Okay, all right.
I was gonna say,
I'm pretty
it's
sure
changed a couple
I'm
times.
pretty sure 200 signatures could be gotten, but yeah, all in all, I think that through the Board of Health is probably the better.
Mhm.
We just you gotta make sure it's written right, that's all.
Yeah,
Right.
and anybody who has suggested, what's your email, Lori? Just because I know it, but they might not.
It is first initial L. my last name, which is a doozy, WIITA at Templeton, MA.gov.
Thank you.
And although I'm not participating in the meetings that you're talking about, I can I'll accept drafts, I'll accept suggestions.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to them. They're the knowledgeable ones. I just jumped on the boat. I wish somebody was here because they seem to know everything.
It's very specific,
I
because it's very specific. It's a little difficult for me to
gotcha.
participate, so.
I have another question about something else now. The property was foreclosed on, so, or is in the process of being foreclosed on. Who's selling it? Because they
They have an opportunity to sell,
still have the opportunity.
absolutely.
Okay, I thought when foreclosure proceedings started, which I've been told they did, that they are out of.
No, I think they can, I'm pretty sure I'll ask that. But
I
anybody,
would trust you more than me because I don't know.
well, no, I'm pretty sure that anybody's that's in a foreclosure process has the opportunity to sell a property and make good on whatever they have to make good on.
Oh, okay,
But I'll ask the question.
so then that means that this company, if they're selling it, they don't want to push forward with this.
I can't answer that.
Uh-huh.
I can't.
Right, I know, I still want to keep going.
Part of the reason why we wanna, this just happened to fall into place, that the plastics or the recycling in general, that for future, just
I love that you are on that,
protect
yes.
the
Entirety.
entirety, because not, say, I'm using them as an example, the plastic company doesn't wanna come in there. But somebody else that has something, we're gonna start over again. If we have this, they wanna start in another part of town, there's somebody, God forbid, somebody wants to sell one of their fields for development, they don't want houses, it's not suitable, it doesn't perk or whatever. But they could put a commercial building there and it happens to fall within those parameters. And they wanna put up, some sort of hazardous waste factor. So that's, we're trying to
Oh, and
get ahead of the ball, just so that the next person who says, we can put something, oh, no, we can't, not that town.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that would, that just protects us.
I was just thrown off when you said it was for sale, because I didn't realize that they put it up for sale.
Which means the next person could be nuclear waste, who knows? That's what we're saying. You don't know who's gonna buy it.
If they're not interested in setting up shop.
Right. So they
That's
might
how I
not,
see it. We might have a little more.
somebody else might say, hey, wait a minute, they didn't, but we have means, or we have the lawyer, or we have.
Stay with it too.
So
Yeah.
we're just,
I'm just a little relieved to hear that they put it up for sale and they're not pushing forward and we can have time to organize and,
yes,
Yeah.
but time is, because if it does sell,
Yes.
we are under the gun again.
yeah, right. Oh, I'm not ready to stop anyways. I'm moving
No.
forward and yeah.
It seems like this under the gun, this time thing, once you put it real estate can take time, or real estate can move like lightning. And so whatever is here feels like it needs to happen fairly quickly.
Correct.
So I was listening to you, it sounds like, there's a lot to learn, you're on the learning edge. And so there's this research that needs to happen, and when I said you need to help people, you started nodding, we kind of went away from there. But, like, what would you be Googling? What would you be, I know.
I have Googled everything I can think of.
One
Just
thing
wasn't working.
that, it's not that I'm for AI or against AI, but the chat GPT, the thing that AI, you can put things into AI right now, not the open source, but chat GPT.
Okay.
And you can, and you can keep dialoguing with it, like if it sort of does broad, but then you can keep on making it more specific, like
So shrinking it.
like towns in Massachusetts or town, like, what kind of language, because
Okay.
and one thing, and it's kind of weird, but all questions that go to AI go globally to every AI there is. So that's a good, it is scary, but in this situation
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
it may cut your research down by, because it happens in seconds, when it's gonna give you answers. I had 103 pages in one night. So in terms of researching, that may be your most immediate with the timing that you have. to get your hands on what you need to get your hands on.
That's a really good suggestion because I would have stayed completely away
I
from
know.
AI.
Me too, and I'm not.
I'm old.
Advocating, but I think, it does have some purposes and is open source. So right now, that's one place that you can get a lot of information probably really quickly.
Okay.
It has to be checked. It's not gonna be like, but it'll give you.
Oh, anything that we do, anything that we put together will be reviewed by town council.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It'll have to be like gone through, but.
Right.
But it will pull up.
Okay, that's a great suggestion.
Some of the terms you might want to use is advanced recycling
Yep,
and pyrolysis.
and I have,
Okay.
holy smoke.
Yeah.
You get, it's not, you get inundated for sure.
There is, one of the links that we have from the, Templeton community against is, I think in Pennsylvania, there was a community that was, they were able to keep out
Specifically,
specifically.
okay,
So they have some kind of wording. I don't know if it was a county or a town, but at least it might be a start to
Yeah,
look at.
it-
I have to find it. It's
Okay.
buried in my email links.
I bet you got a few, huh?
I do.
Yeah, I feel that.
I think we should all come up with ideas of what we'd like in there, because that's what you're asking
should.
for.
Yes.
But one thing that popped into my mind, I don't know that much better, but what about a whole solar field that we sell the energy? We
We've,
could sell the electricity
No,
back
they
and make
won't.
now.
so
We already
if,
Seeing, isn't
Against
it?
that, don't we?
No,
No,
Don't we have?
No, no
regulations on
solar.
no, solar's bad,
well, it's
I didn't
changed
say
a
it's
little bit.
bad. I just, I,
but it's a clean
I-
industry that we could generate.
no, it's not.
No.
They can't get rid of their stuff either.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the amount of damage that they do to the ground and
And I don't think that would be a factor, but I do think that you would have to contact Templeton Municipal Light
yeah.
and
plenty-
Electric before, because they do have some regulations that prohibit certain things. So that could be looked at, and I can ask the question. But
But solar field, for the most part, if you do a lot more research than mass media or the. For example, there was one in Texas that got hit with hail and it's completely destroyed. It's down.
and it's not.
They don't have
going
the,
anywhere.
yeah, and they don't have the money to fix it. They don't know who's responsible for it. There's one in a neighboring town of ours that people signed a 20-year lease on. And it was a bunch of investors, and when the lease is up, these people are walking away with their profits and leaving the property owner with the panels and everything else in place,
Hmm.
and it's his, and there's no way to get rid of them. So it's not all, it's great. It's if it's done properly. But they haven't quite figured it out yet. As much as everyone says, go solar, go solar, go solar.
Well,
It's like the wind turbines. They've learned that those things aren't
the
a great
electric
idea.
cars.
Yeah, we're putting the cart before
Yep.
the horse, so to speak. So throwing all this solar at it, it's
Good idea, though.
a good idea. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not it's not what they make it out to be,
Mhm.
in all honesty, because there's no way to recycle solar panels either.
One of the problems with the property is access. Doesn't have very good access from the highway at all.
No,
It's the train
202.
tracks, but
That's it.
it's very, very bad.
But if with, like you were said before, if you put the right. This is again a fantasy, this is the hope, this is the big dream, with the right group of stores, whatever. To reroute some traffic, granted, we have the train there, the tracks there, that would take some doing, but it could be done for the right, risk reward. Like I said, if you have trucks and whatnot and stuff,
It's a pretty nice piece of property, 23 acres.
yeah.
Right now, it's a pretty good wildlife refuge.
Yeah.
We had a lot of coyotes in there for a while. Like bears.
Yeah, we know that.
Bears.
A lot of kids hanging out there burning stuff and doing whatever else, and people throwing trash and whatnot.
Actually, it was my playground when I was.
John, what you said.
It's too late. The,
Statute of limitations is up.
My son brought me to this place in Lexington, just a few weeks ago, and he said, I want you to come see this place. It had a big parking lot. It was on a bike trail. And it had all sorts of it was all open. And there was like outside things and inside, and there was a bar in there, but there was also lots of different kinds of restaurants, and then people eating outside and inside. It was packed. It was really great.
I mean, they could make it into almost well, I don't know how bad the ground is. But even a green space with a couple of small stores or small bistros or something to that effect. I mean, it's such a bit like, it's a beautiful piece of property. To waste it is silly,
Yeah.
and to destroy it is even dumber.
I think that we have to check one box at a time.
Right, I know, I'm just saying, you know, can a man dream around here?
Right now. Because there's so much that has to be done over there to put anything there.
Yeah.
You know, impervious, you can do impervious material and then load on top of it, but that's further down the road. I think that we're gonna head in the right direction. I'll take any information I can get.
Mhm.
You guys can be my liaison to the group and provide me with some good information, and we can start putting it together, and we'll keep it on the agenda. I can't guarantee we'll always have an update, but we'll keep it on the agenda. And as we get more specific information, I can add that to the recycling regulations. I can put down, you know, this is what we're gonna cover, and that way you'll know if you wanna be here or not.
So we can start with, you know, okay, we're gonna look at incinerators, or we're gonna look at paralysis, and we're gonna look at this, and we're gonna look at that, and we've come up with wording for this, and we're and then that
And like I said, if we can find somebody who's already written it, even better.
will plagiarize.
I'm not afraid to plagiarize.
No, no,
They don't
no,
usually,
change the word.
they don't
That's all it
usually
takes.
hold you to fire for those kind of plagiarisms.
Only, well, only if the farmers are involved, then they come at us. 'Cause
Mm.
they'll say, you got that from Northborough.
Damn roosters.
So thank you guys all for coming, for your information, and again, email anything and everything to Lori. She's gonna be
I don't,
inundated with.
I hate to
all
put
this
Lauren on
stuff.
the, but please do, if you have. Get in contact with somebody, one of us, I mean, I talk
Yep.
to a lot of the people in town. They do contact me, if you have ideas, you have suggestions, you find something. If you
Let
can't
us
get to
know.
Lori, get to me or
Myself.
Jean or Laura.
If you care to call the real estate agent, you can provide her with information too, as far as what the town would like to see.
Okay,
Because she asked,
who has it?
Okay.
Carissa Moore,
Mhm.
if you, look the site up as far as sales go, I think it's called LoopNet. It's all right there, her phone number, everything.
Information. Thank you.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you all too. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get it done.
Yes.
Nick?
Thank you. And I have no other comments. You guys have any comments? Are you already
I
adjourned?
know, I made a motion.
Oh, I will second that, Earl, sorry.
Peace.
It is 7:50.